Oh hey, Jimmy Stewart! The next official film on the National Film Registry is one I've seen only twice in my whole life, and it helps that this is the case. The reason I say this is due to the insane twists in this film that takes place, and how off guard it'll catch you. We get a pretty cool opening shot here, where it starts off in black and white, and then the credits start to roll, and there's an explosion of color that slowly takes over the screen. It's like the movie wanted to be in black and white, but then the film accidentally knocked over Bob Ross, and we're watching the colors slowly bleed into the film stock. The rest of the movie is in color too at this point, which is pretty cool. So the movie starts off with Jimmy Stewart, and he's running across a rooftop at night and trying to catch some unseen crook. Unfortunately, Jimmy hasn't put enough hours into Assassin's Creed and Dying Light, because the next thing we see is he slips, causing his partner to stop mid-chase to go help Jimmy up. Unfortunately, the police officer also has a real lack of gamer skills, because this motherfucker loses balance and falls to his death, causing Jimmy, aka Scotty in the film, to gain the power of PTSD, scarring him for life and leading to acrophobia, which is the fear of heights. Oh, and if it wasn't clear, Jimmy is or was a detective. We see some time has passed and Jimmy is back at his ex-fiancee's apartment helping her model a brassiere. Weird. This woman is named Midge, and she is one sassy 1950s lady.
Now it's this darn corset, it binds.
No three-way stretch? Very unchic.
The dialogue here is really snappy, and you can see that these two were once madly in love with each other. How well they banter back and forth, it's just great.
But you quit the police force.
Boy, this sounds so disapproving, Midge.
No, it's your life. But you were the bright young lawyer that decided he was going to be chief of police someday.
I noticed in this scene that while Barbara Bell Geeds, who plays Midge, does a really solid job of acting alongside Jimmy Stewart, Jimmy just acts miles around her. In fact, I think Jimmy is where our good friend Jeff Goldblum got most of his inspiration for acting. I mean, just look at this scene of Jimmy talking to Midge. It's very charmingly natural, and it doesn't even seem like he's reading a script. The character seems so unsure of himself and interrupts himself while speaking like he's all over the place, but still maintains his charm. It really reminds me of Jeff Goldblum's acting, which most people say is a wholly unique thing when he first appeared on film.
What about my acrophobia? What about... Now, suppose I'm sitting in this chair behind the desk. Here's the desk. And a pencil falls from the desk down to the floor. And I reach down to pick up the pencil. Bingo, my acrophobia is back.
You stood on the shoulders of geniuses to accomplish something as fast as you could. And before you even knew what you had, you patented it and packaged it and slapped it on a plastic lunchbox. And now you're selling it. You want to sell it. Well,
I guess people just forgot about Jimmy Stewart by the 1980s, but either way, this scene in Midge's apartment is used to set up how deathly afraid Jimmy is of heights and to move us on into the plot.
There we go. There. There. Now, I look up. I look down.
Here.
Oh, that's a girl. Oh, who's that? Now, huh? See, I look up. I look down. I look up. I'm going right out and buy myself a nice tall stepladder.
And take it easy now.
Ah, well, this is a cinch. Here, I look up. I look down. I look up. I look down.
After getting a call from an old college friend, Jimmy is summoned by said friend under a matter of business. We are now at the shipping yards, where we meet the new character named Gavin, Jimmy's old college pal. You know, this is another film where a British person plays a main character. I don't know if it's fate or just bad luck.
No, but one assumes responsibilities. My wife's family is all gone. Someone has to look after her interests.
Didn't even know they use that term anymore. Retarded.
Gavin wants to hire Jimmy for his detective skills in order to basically stalk his wife. Lately, Gavin noticed that his wife, Madeline, has been acting strange, as if she was possessed by some kind of ghost, in his words, not mine.
Scotty, do you believe that someone out of the past, someone dead, can enter and take possession of a living being?
No.
At first, Jimmy has no interest in doing something like this because he's retired for so long. He even offers to get some other guys who are really, really good to do the job, but Gavin insists it has to be Jimmy due to trust and secrecy.
All right, I'll get you a firm of private eyes follower for you. They're dependable, good boys.
I want you.
Look, this isn't my line.
Scotty, I need a friend. Someone I can trust. I'm in a panic about this.
Reluctantly, Jimmy agrees, and the next few scenes we see him literally stalking Madeline. We watch as Jimmy starts creeping around, keeping a fair distance in order to watch her from afar, even going so far as to follow her into a business and watch like a fucking creep from the crack of a door in the back of a flower shop's business. This is also a good time to point out the musical score in this film. It's really good. This scene of Jimmy stalking Madeline into a flower shop is especially good. The music plays almost like your own heartbeat and makes you feel like you're also following Madeline with Jimmy and your paranoia is rising. But then suddenly, it slickly transitions into a love ballad and it starts to hint at a slight infatuation with Madeline from Jimmy's perspective. It's honestly really fucking creepy because again, he's literally stalking her and hasn't even met this woman. Just follows her around. The way Jimmy's following her around and acting kind of reminds me of that scene from Psycho. You know, the one where Norman is whacking his meat, looking through the peephole, watching the girl shower. Anyway, it seems Madeline is obsessed with some kind of painting of a woman at a local art museum and even visits a local church graveyard, fixating on one grave in particular marked Carletta Valdez. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. Having only the name of a dead woman and her portrait to go off of, Jimmy returns to his ex-fiance's apartment where he partially discusses the case with her. Jimmy lets it slip that Madeline is obsessing over a painting in some grave. When he lets it slip that the grave is marked Carletta, his ex has a brain blast moment and suggests that they meet a local historian who knows everything about every little detail from gay old San Francisco that owns a bookstore. Now, this guy has a name, but I can't remember his name because he never shows up again. So we're gonna call him Tiny Bookie.
Bookie.
Tiny Bookie starts telling us a sad backstory of Carlotta. Apparently, this woman was a Spanish immigrant who was the mistress of a wealthy man in the California area back in the day. Carlotta is essentially spoiled by her lover, and eventually he hires somebody to make a painting of her. Post her death, that painting winds up in that museum. Eventually, however, Carletta goes a little, crazy, because her wealthy baby daddy knocks her up and takes the kid far, far away. Slowly, Carletta goes crazy, wandering the streets and asking people where her baby is until she comes to the only logical conclusion. Commit seppuku.
Scorpion wins. Harakiri.
Taking this news back to Gavin, he admits that Madeline has been obsessing over this woman and her story ever since she got a piece of the late Carletta's jewelry.
You know, there's something else. My wife, Madeline, has several pieces of jewelry that belonged to Carlotta. She inherited them. Never wore them, they were too old-fashioned. Until now. Now, when she's alone, she takes them out and looks at them. Handles them gently, curiously. Puts them on and stares at herself in the mirror. Then goes into that other world.
Madeline is following a very disturbing pattern where she's perfectly mirroring Carlotta's final moments on Earth down to the fact that they're both blonde women in their late 20s. With this new evidence brought to light, Jimmy goes back to stalking Gavin's wife. However, this time around though, Jimmy actually speaks to Madeline. You see, on this stalking adventure, Jimmy sees Madeline throw herself from the lower section of the Golden Gate Bridge and jump into the water. So, Jimmy does what anybody else would do, goes in and rescues her. We now find ourselves at Jimmy's very own apartment. Here it's revealed that Jimmy not only went into the water to save her, but he also stripped a total stranger down to her titties and just kind of left her in his bed to dry off. Again, kinda creepy considering he's been, I don't know, stalking her, but I guess he doesn't try to do anything, so he's a good guy, kinda. Waking up, Madeline freaks the fuck out. Which, to be fair, anybody waking up to an elderly Jimmy Stewart standing over them while they're naked in his bed probably should. But the detective just kinda rizzes her up and gives her a sexy silk robe. Jimmy explains to her that he was simply out exploring California like she was until he saw her throw herself into the river.
And what were you doing there at Old Fort Point?
Oh, just wandering about.
Oh, you like it too?
Yes.
So, not only is this guy stalking his friend's wife, which I guess in all fairness he didn't want to, but his pal needed help, but now he's lying right to her face and trying to get her to have some kind of Stockholm syndrome or some shit. Jimmy's kind of a gooner in this, isn't he? Madeline admits that she doesn't remember much and feeling like she was under a spell, giving gravity to the whole possession theory. Anyways, Jimmy gets a call from Gavin, but it's implied that Madeline either hears this and leaves, or just uses the opportunity to leave. Either way, Jimmy's ex sees this as she's driving past his house, and assumes that Jimmy is sleeping with the target he was hired to stalk. This is important for later.
Well, now, Johnny-O, was it a ghost? Was it fun?
The next day, Madeline comes back to Jimmy's place to drop off a thank you letter. But surprise, surprise, Jimmy was already stalking her and pulls up to his parking space and gets out. Again, he acts as if he wasn't just watching her every move like a fucking creep. This is overshadowed by Jimmy hitting on Madeline, to which she actually reciprocates it back.
The whole thing must have been so embarrassing for you.
Not at all. I enjoyed it. Talking to you.
Well, I enjoyed talking to you.
This leads to them to go explore California till they make it to a big-ass tree in the woods. Some of the film's locations feel like they've been added in due to their instant production value. Later, there's another place similar to this giant tree, which, might I add, is a real-life tourist attraction, so when scenes like this happen, it feels kind of like they were just shooting the rodeo, as it were. That's when you film something for free because it's an event in town or it's just a pre-established tourist destination, adding production value to your picture. Production value with like 50 quotation marks around it. Either way, Madeline acts possessed again and even claims that she's seeing Carletta's life as if she's living a dream, but she's actually doing those things in real life.
What else?
It's part his dream, I think. There's a tower and a bell in a garden below. Seems to be in Spain. Village in Spain. Blinks off and it's gone.
It almost feels like she's in a trance or sleepwalking, living Carletta's life, which does add some real creepy factor to the story. Trying to comfort her, Jimmy brings Madeline close and they embrace, a kiss solidifying their obsession with each other. This is probably one of the most iconic, romantic kiss scenes in all of Hollywood. I have to also point out that the crashing waves against the rock not only solidify this kind of schmaltzy romance novel feel, but I can't help but think that maybe the water is supposed to be representative of the clash of interest here, considering that he's hired to simply just follow the wife and make sure she's not doing anything to get herself killed, and now they're both giving in to passion, even though one knows that she's married and the other one knows that she's married. You know what? Just remind me to never hire Jimmy Stewart to protect my wife. He's just gonna Pedro Pascal all over her until he Grogu's in her eyes. The next scene, we find ourselves back at Jimmy's ex's apartment where she's hounding him for more information on the case. Jimmy's not having it. There's two things I noticed about this scene. One, not only is this the second time that we see Jimmy going back to Midge's apartment to talk, but it seems as though they're always shot either passing by each other and then they're in separate rooms, kind of showing this great distance between the two. And also, this part right here where he's sitting on the couch, the camera angle is low, almost like he is. You can see that the camera is reflecting not only his emotions, but The fact that he's getting tired of this case, and it almost seems like the camera itself wants to finally get some rest and be done with this kooky case that he's been hired for. I will admit, the matte painting of California skyline at night is real nice. As nice as that matte painting is, though, it can't stop Midge from being a bitch, and painting a mocking picture of Carletta, but with her face on it. This triggers Jimmy Stewart to the point he storms off to go complain about it on his blog. Midge's breakdown here is actually really heart-wrenching because of how much she still loves Jimmy Stewart's character, but at the same time too, bitch, what were you expecting? He's under a lot of stress, and also he kind of wants to fuck the person that he's been stalking, so that's on you. While at home, Jimmy gets an unexpected visit from Madeline, who tells him about her dreams. Turns out these aren't dreams though, they're memories she has from sleepwalking in Carletta's footsteps.
I wanted to see you and be with you.
Well, why? What's happened?
I had the dream. Dream came back again.
No. It's gonna be all right.
Even though he feels sympathy for her, he still refuses to tell her that he was involved and hired to stalk her. It's honestly pretty fucking creepy how hard he's trying to keep up the act. She then mentions that she's having visions of an old town, and Jimmy suggests that they go there to see what it's about.
It was the tower again and the bell in the old Spanish village.
Yes?
Clear, so very clear for the first time. All of it. A big gray wooden house with a porch and shutters and a balcony above. At the end of the green, there was a whitewashed stone house with a lovely pepper tree at the corner.
And an old wooden hotel from the old California days? And a saloon? Dark, low ceilings, with hanging oil lamps? It's all there. It's no dream. You've been there before. You've seen it. Well, 100 miles south of San Francisco, there's an old Spanish mission. San Juan Bautista, it's called, and it's been preserved exactly as it was 100 years ago as a museum.
Cut to the next day and we're actually at this town. It's a tourist attraction, and being there seems to put Madeline into a trance as she monologues about it. The thing that's really uncomfortable about this scene is how the camera slowly zooms in on her face. It's like the camera operator is being drawn into her rambles. It almost gets a little too close.
There were horses in the stalls. They black in a gray place. But we were forbidden to play here. Teresa, what's schooled us.
As Jimmy tries to get her to remember more, it frightens Madeline, causing her to run off. She comes across the monastery in town and begins to climb the bell tower. Jimmy, realizing that she might endanger herself, chases after her, but, unfortunately, is thwarted by his acrophobia. He doesn't make it up the stairs, and the first big shocking twist occurs. Madeline falls to her death. But I mean, hey, at least now he doesn't have to worry about getting caught banging his buddy's wife. Win-win. We find our hero now on trial for the death of Madeline. In a classic case of Hitchcock's dark humor, Jimmy is basically dressed down and humiliated in court by this fucking asshole of a judge.
The fact that once before, under similar circumstances, Mr. Ferguson allowed a police colleague to fall to his death, Captain Hansen dismissed as an unfortunate incident. Of course, Mr. Ferguson is to be congratulated on having once saved the woman's life, when in a previous fit of aberration she threw herself into the bay. It is a pity that, knowing her suicidal tendencies, he did not make a greater effort the second time.
Before the court gets out, Hitchcock goes super meta and has Gavin say, "You and I both know who killed Madeline."
There's no way for them to understand. You and I know who killed Madeline.
It's almost like Hitchcock is blaming himself while also still pissing on Jimmy in his state of depression. It's really funny, but like in a messed up way. Unfortunately, seeing the death of his true love while also getting completely roasted in court sends Jimmy into a catatonic state. This lasts a while. Seriously, the next few scenes are a montage of time going by as Jimmy is completely just fucked. Midge even tries to get him to speak, but the guy is so fucked up he just sits there and stares. It's honestly really sad and kind of creepy.
Oh, Johnny. Johnny, please try. Try, Johnny. You're not lost. Mother's here.
Eventually, we get the most famous scene in the film, the color explosion acid guilt dream, where we see Jimmy freak out, all while new colors and pulpy comic accents are added to the picture. It's definitely the highlight of the film. It basically symbolizes his guilt as fully taking control. Eventually time passes and Jimmy gets out of his catatonic state, sorta. He starts to retrace his steps leading up to him meeting Madeline. He visits the red room that he first stalked her in, then he visits the apartment that she lives in, even seeing that her old car has a new owner.
You get this car.
I beg your pardon?
Car.
Why, I bought it from a man who used to live here in this apartment building, Mr. Gavin Elster. I bought it from him when he moved away.
Lastly, he visits the museum, and in one of the saddest scenes of the film, he mistakes a random woman for Madeline, getting his hopes up. While he's out wandering around visiting the places where he first saw Madeline, he comes across a brunette woman named Judy. Again, going back to his roots, Jimmy decides to stalk her back to her hotel room. Rushing up the stairs, Jimmy does the creepiest fucking thing that anybody can do.
What is it?
Could I ask you a couple of questions?
What for? Who are you?
My name's John Ferguson.
Is this some kind of Gallipoli?
Oh, no. There's just a couple of things I'd like to ask.
You live in this hotel?
No, I happened to see you when you came in, so I thought
Yeah, I thought so. A pickup. Well, you've got a nerve. Follow me right into the hotel and up to my room. Now, you beat it. Go on and beat it.
Please, I just want to talk to you.
Listen, I'm going to yell in a
Listen,
minute.
I'm not going to hurt you, honest, I promise.
I have no idea how he makes it work, but he manages to get Judy to agree to hang out with him. See guys, if at first she says no, just keep trying and be more desperate till she says yes. They start hanging out and doing shit together, but Jimmy just can't stop comparing Judy to Madeline. This really upsets her as she starts to fall for Jimmy, but this upsets her because she thinks that he only is into her because she reminds him so much of Madeline.
No.
No? And what?
We could just see a lot of each other.
Why? Does that remind you of her? It's not very complimentary.
We find out that Judy actually is Madeline. She tries to leave a note and skedaddle, but she just can't because she also loves Jimmy. And I mean, come on, let's face it. The way he's been acting with her, this is either a kink, or it's gonna end with him slitting her throat if she doesn't play ball. The two start taking the relationship seriously to the point Judy just dyes her hair because it's what Jimmy wants. Essentially, Judy is destroyed by Jimmy's obsession to the point he actually starts to catch on that Judy is Madeline. Now, this causes Jimmy to go a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Upon suspecting Judy of living a double life, Jimmy proceeds to force Judy to the old town where Madeline died and basically pushes her up the bell tower stairs. This is a powerful but also disturbing scene. Jimmy is angry and it's fucking terrifying, but at the same time too we get to see his PTSD become defeated the higher he ascends the stairs with her. Once at the tippy top, he demands an explanation.
The necklace, Madeline. That was the slip. I remembered the necklace.
Let me go!
How we're going up the tower, Madeline. You knew that day that I wouldn't be able to follow you, didn't you? Who was up there when you got up there? Elster and his wife?
Yes.
Yes, and she was the one who died. The real wife, not you. You were the copy. You were the counterfeit, weren't you? Was she dead or alive when you...
Daddy's broken her neck!
He'd broken her neck.
Now, major spoilers. Pause and come back if you don't want the full movie's ending to be ruined. I'll be here gooning until you're ready. Oh shit! I didn't think you were coming back that fast. So are you ready for the ending? Turns out Gavin knew that if Jimmy followed Judy, who was pretending to be his wife Madeline, Jimmy would get too involved with the plot and eventually try to save her best he could when Judy runs up the bell tower stairs, but wouldn't be able to due to his fear of heights. At that point, Gavin would take the real Madeline and toss her off the tower to her death, while he and Judy waited out the police investigation at the top of the tower. After which, Gavin would give Judy a half of the money that he would get from Madeline's life insurance, and then they would both just bounce out of LA. Problem is, Judy fell in love and couldn't resist coming back. So, Jimmy is pissed and freaks Judy out, making her move around the tower while he's yelling at her like a cornered animal. She moves around a bit too much, and unfortunately the sound of a nun entering the tower freaks both Jimmy and Judy out. This causes Judy to, ironically, suffer the same fate as Madeline, as she falls to her death from being jump-scared at the top of the tower. And that's it. That's how it ends. That dark humor wins at the end. This movie was a genuine roller coaster ride, and that's just genuinely how Hitchcock does his movies. From the oddball plot to the twists and turns and the superb acting, you get sucked into the plot and you almost forget that this is a movie. I showed this film to some friends, and even they got invested in this 70-year-old flick. The twist at the end had every single person audibly saying, "Yo, what the fuck?" From the shot composition during the intense monologues, to the score and even to the map paintings, this film perfectly encapsulates the feeling of dread when you have a phobia and even the devastation of losing a loved one. This film is in the registry for a good reason, as it's also one of the earliest films to actively show the effects of trauma on a normal everyday person. The colors are just insane. They pop, and it makes it feel like you're watching a living pulp comic book from the 1950s. This is a 10 out of 10 must-see movie. So, that's my review of Vertigo. I'm sorry it took so long to get out. I've been dealing with a lot of health issues lately, but next movie that I'm going to review is going to be something that's not on the film registry. I'm kind of getting tired of saying, this is a good movie, so we're going to review a B movie next time, and it's one of my favorites.